It's Wednesday and it's time for another 10 minutes of truth. So today I've got an article out of an email that I get, and I'm not even sure how I started getting it. It's called MedPage Today. And they're articles usually written by physicians for the medical community. A lot of the articles are not relevant to me, but this one is interesting. It's an article about polypharmacy, and it says polypharmacy is a real issue. Dismantling public health won't fix it. So what polypharmacy is when somebody takes 5 or more drugs. And this is was written by a psychiatrist, a female psychiatric resident, who was bemoaning the fact that so many of the patients that she sees are on so many medications, and some of them, are some of these medications are, they're actually not really building on each other, but they're duplicate, they're doing the same thing. And she said, while some people need to be on drugs, some psychiatric patients do, she makes a statement in here which I thought was really interesting. And I'm not saying that nobody ever needs to be on psychiatric drugs, but she says our system is imperfect but not irreparable. One meaningful way to address polypharmacy starts with medical education that emphasizes good diagnosis over treating symptoms superficially, and clarifies that doing something for the patient does not always involve medication. It may involve the courage to deprescribe cautiously or to optimize non-medication interventions. So I think that's a very, very good point. And the fact of the matter is that with all these psychiatric patients that are on all these medications, they're really never getting at the root cause of why their brains aren't working. So this is a book written by Stephen Gundry called The Gut-Brain Paradox. And he makes an interesting statement. He talks about the microbiome in our gut and how important that is for our overall health. And he says, we've recently discovered that the brain has its own microbiome. It's not only do we have bacteria in our brains, but bacteria in our guts and throughout our bodies are, to a great extent, directing what goes on in our human brains. And so what he is saying here is that, our brains are influenced tremendously by the gut bacteria, or the bacterial profile in our bodies. And this has really been discovered more probably in the last 10 years. And so my answer, or how I would address this psychiatrist here in this article from MedPage, is in all these psychiatric patients that you're seeing, why don't we start looking at their microbiome, at their gut, and look at this gut-brain connection and see if fixing their gut won't at least substantially help their brains. Maybe they can't get off all their medication, but maybe by fixing and looking for the underlying problem, we can address that and correct what needs to be corrected. So that's pretty much what we do in our clinic here at Lincoln Disc and Nutrition. And I do a lot of tests on the gut and look at the microbiome and look at things like leaky gut and food intolerances, which can cause psychiatric illnesses. And so I would say to this psychiatrist, maybe you should explore some functional medicine and see if that can't help the brains of your patients. Because Stephen Gundry used to be a heart surgeon, has written a whole book regarding that. And this is a pretty new field. It's explosive in its ability to help people, its ability to look at why people are sick and why some people have problems that just go undiagnosed for decades. So I would say if we could look at the gut and look at some of the other things going on in the body that may be the underlying causes for the brain dysfunction, maybe we could help these psychiatric patients a lot more. I recently had a patient come into my office with severe autism, and his parents brought him in, and I we did some gut tests on him. I really haven't even gone over that with the parents yet, but I did some other things like a vagal nerve stim and fixed some of his organs that weren't working, and a few other things the first visit he was in here. And his mother told me very recently that he has stopped having to get up and go to the bathroom at night. Now, that hasn't fixed his autism, but it's certainly helped his quality of life. And by fixing his gut, we may be able to fix even more than that. So again, here at Lincoln Disc and Nutrition, we practice functional medicine and chiropractic, and we look to discover the underlying cause of why people are sick and to fix that so they can get over the illnesses that they have. I'm Dr. Paul Firnhaber here at Lincoln Disc and Nutrition in Lincoln, Nebraska. And if you have any questions or you'd like to come in and talk to me, our number is 402-488-2220. We'll see you next week.